Am I really about to make a video comparing Taylor Swift to the Grand Canyon? Yeah, pretty much. So I wanted to talk about how the Grand Canyon was formed today, and obviously this made me think of Taylor Swift. I don't know, maybe it's because Taylor is constantly playing in all the stores that I go to, or I just watched the Eras tour in theaters, which was, by the way, fantastic, but I really saw a lot of parallels here. Anyway, each of the Taylor Swift eras are distinct. They all have their own separate feels, their own separate vibes, and their own separate type of story that's told. But together, they make the world-renowned marvel that is Taylor Swift and her music. The Grand Canyon is quite literally exactly the same thing. It had 4 distinct eras that are all unique and different in themselves, but when you put them together, they all form the beautiful Grand Canyon that we know and love today. And in my mind at least, each of these eras share many of the same themes that Taylor's had as well. So let's start with the Taylor Swift, Fearless, and Speak Now album eras. These were her entries into the musical world, the foundation of her fame. Here, she laid out the very beginnings of her music career. And these correlate with our very first era of the Grand Canyon, which is Deposition. Here, this is where the Grand Canyon laid out its foundation. During this era, different types of rock layered on top of each other over and over again to form the foundation of what would become the Grand Canyon. Now, just like how I listed 3 Taylor Swift albums in this section, the Grand Canyon has 3 main components here too. And that is that the Grand Canyon is made up of 3 different types of rock: metamorphic rock, igneous, and sedimentary. Now, these are actually all 3 of the types of rock you can find, and while most of the rock in the canyon is sedimentary, specifically sandstone, it does have all 3, which I thought was pretty cool. But as you know, it doesn't stop there. After these albums, Taylor began an even stronger rise to greatness where she began to break the mold of her country songs. She came out with albums like Red in 1989, both of which absolutely exploded. This period of rising to greatness for the Grand Canyon is known as the uplift phase. You see, the Grand Canyon actually began at sea level, and the area that it is today was actually covered by a shallow sea. But then Earth's tectonic plates shifted and collided, and up rose the Colorado Plateau to the nearly 9,000 feet that it sits at today. Now, this uplift is interesting and unique, just like Taylor's was. You might know that typically when tectonic plates collide, they form mountains, like the Rockies or Appalachians. But in this case, the collision formed a flat plateau high up off the ground. Why this happened, we aren't actually entirely sure, but the important thing to know here is that this plateau was crucial for the formation of the Grand Canyon. So now we move on to Taylor's Reputation era. This was a big one, where many of the songs that she wrote addressed the criticism that she'd been receiving. And man, these songs cut straight through the hate. And you know what else cut through something? The Colorado River cut straight through the Grand Canyon. The Grand Canyon's Reputation era was called the downcutting phase. 5 to 6 million years ago, the Colorado River began carving out the canyon over the Colorado Plateau, and it has been doing so ever since. It's crazy to me how this one river has done so much and helped create something so beautiful. I mean, it cut straight through all that rocky resistance just like Taylor did in her Reputation album. And now we come to the last phase. Of course, Taylor Swift would not be the Taylor that we know and love today without her most recent albums, Lover, Folklore, and Evermore. And don't worry, I'm not forgetting about Midnights, we're about to get there too. In the same way that Taylor wouldn't be the Taylor we know and love without these albums, the Grand Canyon wouldn't be what it is without the last era, Erosion. So we just talked about how the Colorado River cut through most of the canyon, but it's not the only thing that helped to shape it. Again, I put 3 albums here to correlate with 3 things. The major erosion that helped form the Grand Canyon are Rainfall, Ice Wedging, and Snowmelt. Rainfall is a little more self-explanatory. It rains, the water gradually washes rock on the canyon walls off down into the canyon, and gradually the canyon gets bigger. Snowmelt follows a similar principle, but ice wedging works a little differently, and I think it's pretty cool. As rain and snow fall, some of this water gets trapped in cracks that are in the canyon walls. Due to the extreme temperature swings that the canyon gets day to day, this water freezes and thaws repeatedly in the cracks of the rocks. Eventually, this expanding and contraction breaks the rock apart from the rest of the wall and sends it tumbling down into the canyon. And now we have the Taylor Swift and the Grand Canyon that we all know and love today. But there is a catch, that they are still evolving. Taylor is coming out with new albums like Midnights and all of the Taylor's versions, and the Grand Canyon is continuing to change as well. As long as water still flows in and around the canyon through the river and in the rainfall, the canyon will continue to change right alongside Taylor. Anyway, I really hope you enjoyed this video and learned a little something along the way, and if you did, please go ahead and leave a like and subscribe down below. I would really appreciate it, and you might get to learn some more cool stuff. My channel is all about learning and having fun with nature and science, and sometimes, apparently, we talk about Taylor Swift. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Did I just, what was that? I'm not gonna do, okay. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.